So, welcome to today's session, showcasing student voice and reflection with digital portfolios. I did see someone in the chat said, I know the Adobe Suite. Let me talk a little bit about the difference there. Adobe Suite, which I'm going to guess you're talking about Creative Cloud, so like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere. Those are the more robust resources that are used in industry, right? Like feature films are made with Premiere, and graphic designers and marketing professionals use all Photoshop and all the other products. Well, Adobe Express, I call it the gateway drug to those products. So it's a much more beginner friendly, completely web based app that kind of helps for creatives to get acclimated so they can use those more robust Creative Cloud resources, or maybe Adobe Express is just enough for them. And the most beautiful thing about Adobe Express is it is 100% free for all K-12 students and educators. So let's get into it. I've already introduced myself. I didn't introduce myself. I guess I should stop for a second. So my name is Melissa Kincaid. I do not work for Adobe. I work for Cincinnati Public Schools, and I train a lot for Adobe because I'm an Adobe innovator. So we kind of get kind of like product sneaks and advanced knowledge and kind of more robust training around Adobe Express so that we can share the love with other teachers. So I'm really excited to be learning with you today. For this session, we are going to be creating, we're going to be getting into it. I believe very strongly in learning by doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get you onto Adobe Express first and foremost. Open up another tab so that you can experience Adobe Express. So you would log in on Clever. So you just go to your Clever and look for the Adobe Express symbol, which is a rainbow A stuck in a black box. So if you're on your tab for Adobe Express, jump back to the Zoom for just a second here. We're going to talk a little bit about what you're going to see today and what you're going to experience today. So this session is particularly about portfolios, which is one of the things that you can do in Adobe Express. Because Adobe Express is creativity software, you can create just about anything. You can create portfolios or websites, as you'll see. You also can create infographics, posters, videos, podcasts, animations, literally anything. Social media posts, short form films, you can record yourself, you can do voiceovers, so much. So we're just doing a tiny piece of it today. In this session, we're going to talk a tiny bit about why digital portfolios support student learning, because we should always start with our why. It's not about the tool, it's about the instruction, right? And then we're going to explore how to create a web page in Adobe Express by building student portfolio from scratch or for a template. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I mean by that. And then we're particularly going to look at how we can add text and images and then generate images into our portfolio. And then I'm going to show you some ways to publish that portfolio to the web. Now, when we say portfolios today, by the way, it is in Adobe Express a web page. Now, a student portfolio, the reason why we would even be concentrating on a student portfolio is because there is value in giving students the opportunity to have a collection of their learning, right? Sometimes we just go on and on and on and on and on, and we may get lost, or the students may get lost on like how did we get from point A to where we are now? But being able to have a portfolio will support them documenting the process as well as how showcasing their learning along those processes, or both, right? I can show the growth or I can show my final achievement. Portfolios can be used for formative assessments, that can be used for summative assessments. It is just a collection of the students' work, a collection of how they are demonstrating their learning. And the beautiful thing about using a tool like Adobe Express to create that collection or that portfolio is that you can do so many different things. There are so many different ways for you to explain your learning or demonstrate your learning. That's a little bit different than a like file folder. I'm old, y'all. File folder portfolios. I've been there. I've been in the game for almost 30 years. So I've been in the game for a long time. And being able to do a paper-based portfolio, you can't do digital elements in that way. I guess you can if you put in a QR code, which you can also, by the way, do on Adobe Express. So it's just a more highly engaging and interactive and diverse way of allowing students a multitude of different ways in which to demonstrate their learning, but still being able to hold those in one place so that things don't get lost. Let's go into Adobe Express a little bit so that I can kind of show you around the platform. And then we're going to start on one of our activities so that you can see a way that you can host a student portfolio digitally through Adobe Express. So this is Adobe Express. All right, so this is Adobe Express. Now, this is the dashboard page, which is where you would go to create all of the things. Let me talk through a couple of things that you're seeing so that you know it's there, right? We're just focusing on portfolios now, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek so that you know what all you can do for free, if I didn't mention that. So I'm going to start from right to left. So this is the edit menu, and the edit tools are things that in my mind, teachers are always looking at how to do, and there's like 15 different websites that you've Googled and found out how to do them in some in some other place. They're now all here that you can use them in Adobe Express. So a couple of them that I like that I want to point out is editing a PDF. We all get things from blogs and websites and teachers pay teachers where we just wish that we could change it a little bit. You can upload a PDF into Adobe Express and edit that PDF so that way you can make it unique to your learners. I use that one a lot. Caption video, I use a lot. I create a lot of videos because I think it's the easiest way to kind of target more diverse learners and also parents. And I just have to create the video and not have to worry about typing the captions. You can load a video into here. Adobe Express will listen to it and create those captions for you. And there's a way that you can translate in Adobe Express as well. So you can send that video to your parents if you're like my district where you have a lot of diverse languages. I can caption that video and then have Adobe Express create the translated captions. So that way that parent or that student can read it in their language of origin. And then also combining files. 87-page great resource you got from Teachers Pay Teachers that you only want page 8 and 27. You can put files together, but you can also split files. And you can just tell it, I just want those two, and then be able to download it in a file altogether. So there's a couple of things there I want you to see the chat access to. The teach menu is just things that you would possibly need as a teacher. The ones that I use the most, or point out, I should say, the most often are this self-paced course. I'm always trying to get contact hours for my license. So if you're in that same boat, these kind of things just rack up to give you hours. And it's information if you want to learn about Adobe Express anyway. So it's right there inside the platform. And then also there are by subject activities. So if you just want to get a quick understanding of what you could do in Adobe Express, check some of those out. Like the math section. Not that I am promoting math above all else, but I kind of am. And this is the main menu that is here, and this is just where you create the stuff. That's where the create button, the create menu is for. So just about everything that you want to create, if you want to create a poster, if you want to create a podcast, build a web page, do a guided activity, which are my favorite, by the way. I'll talk a little bit about guided activities. This is where you would just go to start create. I would use these panels if you know how you want your students to demonstrate their learning. So if you know you want them to animate a character, start here. If you know the topic and you're looking for ideas, then you can start up here in the search everything bar, right? I can just put in fractions if I know my topic, and then it will bring up all different types of templates that I can use, all that are completely 100% editable within the platform. Okay, see all those templates that I can possibly use. So that's Adobe Express as a whole. So today, instead of starting from a template that's here, I've already identified a template that I wanted us to begin with, and I'm going to pop that here in the chat. This template is just one that's simple enough for us to learn from, for you to see how portfolios work and what they can. You can, if you would like, look up another portfolio or web page template if you would like, or you can just kind of follow along with me, and this is just one for us to kind of play around with, and you can see how it works. So today we're going to be looking at how to use the website feature in Adobe Express to create a student portfolio. And one of the reasons that makes this particular item type so robust is that everything is together, and you can put a great deal of different types of elements onto this website. Now, I will tell you that there are some functionality differences between you creating a website on Adobe Express versus like a Google Sites or another website editor. There are going to be some functional differences. So as an instructor, I want you to kind of have in the back of your mind which one of these is the most impactful for my student. Now, with Adobe Express, two main reasons why I like making websites on Adobe Express is number one, I can pull anything that I've created in Adobe Express super quickly into this website. And number two, it is the one that I know that can password protect a website. And to me, that is huge. If I'm using this website for data talks or I'm communicating sensitive information with parents, I can create a website and then give that website a password. So that way, only those who I want access to it are able to access that. And I know that you can lock something down to be in the district if you're using something like a Google site, but that doesn't help you if you're trying to reach parents and they don't have a district email or something like that. So it is really beneficial if you're wanting to lock down who has access to the information on that website. Okay, so here is our website. And let me talk a little bit about how to change things. First things first, when you're on Adobe Express, up here in the upper left-hand corner, always get in the habit of naming your project. Otherwise, you just end up with untitled 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm just going to say delete this because I won't need this after today. So name your project. Now with the website, I'm going to click on the element that I want to change. So up here is how you can change your theme if you would like. Very similar to some of the other very simple website editors, just allows you to change the look of it. If you make a mistake on this website at any time or you want to go back, you simply click up here to the undo button. I'm just going to get it to undo because I don't mind if it's just kind of like, oh, that is kind of fancy and cute though. So for text, I simply click on that and then I can highlight it and just change the text. So this is going to be my sample portfolio. And then this is another text box so that you can just change that too. So text is really the easiest thing to change. So that is simply how you can change text, is just by clicking on it. Now, if you notice when I clicked on the image that was in the background, this is my menu of how I can change those things. So a split layout just gives you two element types that you can do. So I could put something else over here, like a video or a button or another set of text. And then I can delete it if I don't like it. The short cover just makes it short like that. But basically, if you're wanting to change something, click on it. If it's text, you just change it right there. But if it's another element, then it'll give you that bar for you to be able to change that. And one of them is replace, which is very important. So to replace something, you can actually search for photos that are already in Adobe Express. For students, I love this because then they don't have to go onto the internet and get lost in another website, right? They can search for what they want right inside of here. So for example, I am going to search for Cincinnati Bengals because I don't know if you're a football fan, but they're going to send me to a heart attack right now. Let's put in Bengal Tiger because it probably didn't find anything because it's licensed material. So this is a school safe search. So it won't bring up things that are licensed material like that. There we go. We're going to pick this Bengal Tiger because it looks like it's screaming, which is exactly how I feel with Cincinnati Bengals right now. So let's make this bigger. Now, see how my picture is now in there? I can also change the focal point and kind of move that up a little bit. Notice how it's over here. So I can move that up or back to kind of change the focal point of it in my picture. That's how you can kind of make some changes. And once you've moved it, then you can press save. You can also generate an image. So if I click on that and I replace with a generated image, let's say that I didn't get an image that I was really jazzed about, I can generate an image which uses AI for you to be able to create an image just from text. So for example, I want an African-American female. Let's say she has braided hair and she is wearing an orange jersey. Pro tip, if you want like football, you have to put American football at times because they'll bring up a bunch of soccer stuff. You just put football. I learned that the hard way. And I'm going to say she is crying because the Bengals are playing that great right now. Okay, so now I'm going to press generate. I like it. I'm crying. You can also put a style in there too. Like I can say, actually, I'm going to put anime style because my students are currently obsessed with anime characters. I got called a K-pop tech slayer the other day, and I was like, I don't know if I'm impressed by that or horrified, but I've never seen the K-pop Demon Hunters thing, but they're real into it. Perfect. There goes me crying because the Bengals have gotten on my last nerve. So now I'm going to apply and then replace that picture with one that you generate. So it gives you some options. You can search for pictures that you want. You can generate them if you can't find them exactly what you want. You can also upload them from your device. So moving forward, so moving down here, if you have any element, because this is a sample template, if you have any element that's here that you don't particularly want, just erase it, right? I'm just going to erase that text because I don't want it. It may look a little bit like, hey, it's still there, it's not gone. But if you press the preview up here, which is the eyeball, you'll notice that now when I scroll that text isn't there, okay? So you can just delete that if you don't want it. If you want to add something that's not already here in this template, you can replace things by clicking on them and pressing that replace, like I said, right? You can change the text by just changing it. It gives you a couple of options to jazz it up a wee bit. But if you wanted a different section here that wasn't here, then you just click the plus signs that appear on the bottom of them, and then you just click what it is that you want to add. And there's a few options there, right? You can add a photo, you can add a text box there, you can add a button, which you would assign a link to. Love that you can do that. Keep in mind with the buttons is that they are one way. So if you're connecting this site to somewhere else and you want them to navigate back to this site, you need to make sure that there's another button on the other side. So just kind of keep that in mind. The glide show is this thing. So if you scroll down, notice how this picture stays in the back and things glide over it. That is a glide show. So I wanted to address a question that was in the chat about scaling your images. That I know of, you cannot like resize the images in the web pages feature of Adobe Express. It kind of scales it to fit that space, right? Because it's a website. It can get annoying though, because maybe you don't want it stretched out like that. And your only option is to kind of move the focal point of the already stretched out picture, which isn't what you want. And that can be frustrating. A workaround is to, inside of Adobe Express, create that picture with almost a white border around it. That way, when it scales it up to fit that space, the pieces that are cut off are not your photo. So because your photo's in the middle of it, it will still show and it'll just cut off the white space borders that's around it. That is generally what I do when I'm in these positions where it won't scale to fit. Now, I want to show you how to add videos to your websites because maybe I want my students to express their learning as an animation or a podcast if I want audio only. Any kind of moving either video or audio file you can add to a web page, but it is a little bit tricky. So when I go down here to add something and I'm adding a video, notice how my only option is to upload. The good thing about this is if you are creating a website that's not necessarily a student portfolio, but that is for your instruction, is you can pull a website from YouTube and have it play right inside of the web page. I have a huge issue with my students going to the one link that I told them to go to, and for some reason they found themselves on social media or TikTok. Oh, I don't know how I got there, Miss Kincaid. I can tell you how you got there. So anytime that you can embed things inside to where they're not having to go outside, it's always a good thing. Now, when you're creating a video inside of Adobe Express, however, there are ways that you can pull things from your stuff, but you can't pull the videos from your stuff. So I'm going to show you how to create a quick video using Adobe Express and then how to get a link from that so that you can add it to your portfolios. So video options within Adobe Express, you can essentially create a video just from, you can basically take a slideshow and make it into a video by adding animations. Very similar to how I have a Google slide and I can add those transitions and then make them into a video. That's one option. There's also an option within Adobe Express where you can record yourself, which I absolutely love. And in Adobe Express, you can remove the background. So a student can create a video where they're talking about savanna as a habitat, and they could be talking with themselves in a picture of the savanna, which I do absolutely love. The limitations of recording yourself is that they can only record themselves. They can't record what's on their screen. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And then the third video option, which I'm going to show you, is animate characters. And I love animate characters, so I always want to make sure that I can show it to you. Animate a character if you're starting from scratch is here. You can also get it inside the editor, and I'll show you that when we get to that point if you're not familiar. So animate characters lets the students create an animation just from their voice. It takes a long time to create a cartoon if you're doing it on something like Adobe Animate, because you have to move all the mouth to match it with the words, and the hand goes like this and the hand goes like that. It's very time consuming. Animate characters is a fraction of that time. Now, the limitations that it has is that the kids cannot use a created or unique character. They have to pick from the already create bank of characters that are provided. However, if you look here in the category, there is a mouth only category that they can use. So they can take a still shot and then animate the mouth so that way it looks like that still shot is talking. The kids love the mouths only. If I'm honest, these lips kind of freak me out a little bit, but the kids love them, and they have some pretty cool stuff that they can do. So they choose their character first. I'm just gonna keep it with this character because I like it. She has a flower in her hair like me. They also can choose the background that their character is in, and it has categories as well. So if you're looking for, actually, let's look for sports, because we did it before, and I can put them in a stadium. And then the size option is just how big they want their project. That I tend to choose the landscape one because you can see the most, but it 100% depends on where it's going to be. Actually, because I'm uploading this onto that web page, I'm going to do a square so that way I can kind of put it in that on that side. You can move the character around. You can make it bigger or smaller if you want. Character, background size. Once they pick those three things, they're going to record. Notice under here that it says enhanced speech. You want that to be cut on because enhanced speech makes it the video a little bit more studio quality and eliminates a lot of the surrounding noise or background noise, which just makes it a better quality video. And they're generally, we're happier with our stuff when it's higher quality. So once you pick those three, you're just going to record. It's going to count you down. It's even cooler when it works and the internet isn't being goofy. You can do it, internet. There you go. It's counting me down. Hey, everybody. It's Melissa. I'm randomly standing inside of this stadium. It's empty because we're all mad that our team isn't winning. So when you're done, you just press done. You should have seen when I was recording that there was a blue box that was flashing around my character. That actually lets you know that the mic is working, and I didn't pay any attention, so I'm hoping that my mic was picking up, but we'll see. We'll see when it's done rendering. I have had times with kids that they just put in their best work into them. They have won an Academy Award and their mic was not on, and you see their whole soul get crushed when they press play and nothing's there. So just kind of tell them to be careful of that and be aware of that. And if you're walking kind of like around behind them, if you don't see that that flashing around their box, stop them before they get too far gone. Now, what it's doing now is it is creating all of the like lip syncing and stuff just based on my voice that I gave it. And when it's done, it should take it and pop it back into the editor. And I know we haven't talked about the editor yet, so once it pops it in there, then I can show you what I mean by that. I love how we're saying like I can give them a choice board to where they have the option to demonstrate their learning with an animation or a video or a podcast. I think that we really need to offer those kind of opportunities for our students, not only because it's more engaging, but also because it's more real life. More people learn things on YouTube than they do reading newspapers or books or anything nowadays. The amount of content that's put on YouTube, for good or for bad, is just so much more like that's how people learn. If I want to learn how to change my oil, I'm not going to look for a magazine. I'm going to look for a YouTube video. So being able to show kids how to do those things digitally is so impactful for the world that they live in. The major thing that stops us as educators for offering more of that opportunity is the time it takes to assess it. And that's real. If I have a 5-minute video times 50 students, that can be a lot of your time. One thing that you can think about is now we have AI tools that can read captions and stuff like that. So consider if a student creates a video and you're looking for a way to possibly save yourself some time, load that video into a Gemini with a rubric. It'll help you assess whether or not that student got to the goals of that lesson. and it kind of helps you to assess them and see what it was they said in a way that will save you a little bit of time. So just kind of think about that. We have those tools now. So if you're trying to add a video to your portfolio, your website, you just need to know the link to it. So on Adobe Express, and I'm so sorry that I can't show you this. I don't know why it's being goofy. But when you have a project up here and up, there you go. See, now it's going to wake up. It knew I was talking about it behind its back. Now it's going to work. So when you press share, usually when you press share, there is a little line that says view only link. That will allow you to assign a website to this project. And then as soon as you have that URL, then you can put it onto your website. So you just post that there and press save, and then it's going to embed it right there in the center of your website. If you're wanting to preview how your website looks, you just click on the little eyeball, and that shows you what your website is going to look like to the viewer. It's still completely editable, right? It edits in real time. So there's my pictures and there's my video. When I press play, it's going to stay right there on that website, which I like. I talked about, oh, I did not say that. The share options inside of this website, you can invite collaborators. So if you have a portfolio that you're wanting more than one student to submit their work to, right? Maybe it's a group project. You can invite them through their email to work on the same document. If you're making a website for your team, you can have all your team of teachers that can update that same website. And then publish to the web is what actually makes it live. You can give it a title and credits. You can change those if you'd like to. I like this. This is crediting the images that you used actually. But then here, what I wanted to point out is here's where you can password protect it. And if you say password protect, then you can give it the password that when you give them the link, they'll need to open it. Just know that's an option. If you press allow others to remix, that's really impactful as well. If you want to share a template website with other teachers, you can give them that link and it'll have a little blue button up here that says remix, which makes a unique copy for themselves. If you're wanting the students to have a unique copy, right? You've created a template website that they're going to add elements to. You can give them that view only link, but then they have to share it back with you and that gets kind of messy. I would highly suggest that you press assign, and assign is going to allow you to put that into an Adobe Express Classroom. Adobe Express Classroom is very impactful. But when you first log into Adobe Express, on the left-hand side is an icon that says Classroom, and it almost works a little bit like an LMS, right? It just doesn't have any grade pass back. You create a classroom and call it Bell 1, and it may already be in there because ours is automatically synced with Clever. So if your district has set that up to sync, your kids may already be in there. And so you can assign them something. You can assign it to Bell 1. And then when the kids come and they click on Classroom, they'll be able to see whatever assignments that you put into there, and it'll make a unique copy for them. But then in that classroom, you can see every student's work paneled so you can go in and out and kind of review their work in real time. That is the easiest way to share with the students because it keeps it all together. And you don't have to share links back and forth with them or house them anywhere else. They all get housed inside of classrooms. That is how I would share it with students. So publish or share for sharing with other adults or maybe even parents or administrators. But if you're wanting students to create that unique copy, you want to put that into Assign. And I can't say thank you enough for coming to learn and grow with me.